So, Trevor Mallard facing a High Court case. It's transpired he ignored the police, their advice. He used water sprinklers, remember, loud music to try and move protesters off Parliament's lawn back in February 2022. A young girl, she was 11 at the time, she claimed the tactic caused her emotional harm. Her lawyer says the music like Let It Go and Baby Shark was weaponised against her, and they're seeking $40,000 in damages for breaches of her rights. Police briefing notes and text messages released under the OIA show senior officers, including then Commissioner Andrew Coster and now current Commissioner Richard Chambers, repeatedly warned Mallard against the idea, saying it would escalate tensions and be seen as a police tactic. But despite the warnings, he pushed ahead. Not only that, but he also caused massive damage to the sprinklers and the lawn. Police logs reveal frustration with Mallard's actions, especially after he broke a promise to delay using loudspeakers to play vaccine ads and disruptive music. Barrister Tudor Clee is representing this young lady, and he joins me now. Tudor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, this is the protest that just keeps giving, isn't it?
Well, I have a feeling that it's a protest that keeps giving, in the sense that given that there's been no repercussions for what happened to the protesters, I think there's a risk that a similar thing would happen again. And it really comes a point now where we have to draw a line in the sand.
Sure. Tudor, I know it'll be some parts are sensitive of your case, but what you can tell us, can you walk us through what your client experienced during the protest and why she felt compelled to take legal action?
Yes, well, obviously she was at the protest for her own reasons, but the issue is what happened on the 11th to 13th of February. So you had the 10th of February was when the police got involved and arrested people under the trespass notice, and when that failed to end the protest, that's when Sir Trevor Mallard started the flooding. And obviously that impacted my client, and then the next day blasting the music out of the speakers. So it's essentially what this case is about is it acceptable legally to flood people, first of all, in particular, when Sir Trevor has come out a week later in the Herald and said that he was aware that excrement would be being flooded when he did that. And then second of all, whether it's okay to blast people with music. And there's actually it doesn't appear to be any case law in the entire world of whether or not this is okay, because no one's ever come up with the idea of doing these two things together. And in particular, when there are children present when you're doing them.
Tudor, you've alleged breaches of rights here. Can you explain what rights you believe are violated?
Yeah, so under the Bill of Rights, you have a right to be free from, it's a group called torture, cruel treatment, degrading treatment, or disproportionately severe treatment. I think this case is mostly about degrading. And the reason we say degrading is Trevor Mallard called the protesters ferals, which of course is a term for that may mean the person is some sort of animal or filthy type of animal that used to be domesticated and has gone out in the wild. And it's really important that he did that, because in pretty much every serious human rights violation in the world, it starts with that dehumanization. You saw it in Rwanda, where they call them cockroaches. You see it with Jewish people being called rats. And it's one of these things that dampens the effect of what you're going to do next, because you make people feel that the people you're about to harm are essentially subhuman. So that was the first step of it, and then obviously it escalated through the flooding and then the music.
What do you make of the fact the police leadership, Tudor, advised Mallard against these tactics, yet he went ahead anyway?
Well, there was actually a part that you missed that were in the messages. It wasn't just that they asked them not to do it. They asked them not to do it because it would interfere with their ability, was Commissioner Costa's words, and Deputy Commissioner Chambers said it would interfere with their tactics and negotiating tactics.
Escalate tensions.
So it was actually a matter where they were saying, we're doing our job. And if you do this, it is actually interfering with that job. And as Ryan Bridge pointed out this morning on the Herald show, that
Oh, we
was
don't
putting
need
the
to name
police
them,
in
Tudor.
danger. Oh,
Yep,
sorry.
that is true. It's
It was
okay.
it was actually that was the danger, was the issue, to the police, because essentially it was making it difficult for them to do their jobs. So there's a lot more going on in this case than we originally anticipated.
Yeah. Have you? I mean, have you had contact with Mallard's legal team or the parliamentary services?
Well, initially I tried to obtain information through the Official Information Act, but what I found out was that the Speaker's office is actually exempt from the Official Information Act, and that might be a reason why there's so little information known about what actually happened at the time. But that's something which will come out through the court case, as the court case has the ability to get how were the sprinklers actually turned on? How was the music actually operated? So it's unusual, I think, to have a court case where there's such little information that we know, because usually if you're suing a government department, all of that information is disclosed to you before you even start.
Tudor, I mean, I don't know kind of how these work because I've never been taken to court. But if your young client here, she doesn't want her identity known. Is that quite common? Even though that you are taking somebody to court, and is it because she is so young?
Well, I don't necessarily know about common, but the issue is that this is an inflammatory situation. We saw the way that people were treated by the previous government. Charlotte Bell is this perfect example, where Chris Hipkins had spread misinformation and had to apologize to the camera for making statements that were untrue, for whatever reason.
So you're concerned
but the problem
she might have a bit of a hard time from whoever, or the media might want her. So
absolutely, media or politicians. You just don't know. And this is the whole problem, is that we don't have a consensus in the country about how you should treat children or not, because there's a lot of people who are saying, well, it was fine to flood children with excrement, and it's fine to blast them with music. So I don't really think that trusting the social media to keep someone safe or not abused is really possible at the moment, because that's the example being set by politicians.
This isn't your first rodeo, is it? Either, because you had a successful trespass charge against another protester dismissed, Laura Casson. Can you give us a brief rundown of that case?
Yeah, so Miss Casson was famously known as the naked protester. That's right. She was the lady wearing no clothes. She was dragged out by her hair and then ended up having her neck knelt on by an officer, which could have killed her. She was charged with trespass. That charge was dismissed by the court, and as a result of exposing a number of procedural errors by the prosecution, she also received a costs payment for her case. She subsequently sued the police and the Attorney General for violating her rights in that arrest, the kneeling on the neck in particular, and was successful at the High Court about 3 months ago with a declaration that her rights had been violated. So she's one of four protesters who were assaulted by police that I've obtained results for and settlements for.